I think you're either going to make it really big or fall flat on your face.
I've known Zandra since I was about 24 or 25, and I moved to London to work for Andrew Logan, who is this fantastic artist who creates beautiful glass sculptures and portraits, and I was his assistant for the Alternative Miss World, which is this great competition which he's been doing since 1971, and it's a beauty competition for anybody who thinks they're fabulous enough. And suddenly this very famous designer, Zandra Rhodes, burst through the door with Janet Street Porter, these two very sort of famous TV-worthy ladies bursting through the door. So I couldn't believe that this wonderful, very famous fashion designer had not only sort of offered me a job to wear my glitter hat at one of her launch days, but had also very kindly given me a lift home. Well, you know, Zandra always has a living sort of student digs there. You can live there and work there. So I called Zandra and she said yes. Since then we've sort of become somewhere between work colleagues, friends and family. So by living together it's a very sort of inspiring environment to kind of see how Zandra works. Zandra would have drawn this in 1977 when you weren't even a twinkle in your mum's eye. I'd already twinkled by then. Living here and working for Zandra really kind of gave me sort of great intimate knowledge of her work. And now I have to say I really enjoy working with colour. I can still tend towards my black and white, but I really love working with colour, and that's something that definitely was picked up through working and living with Zandra. You'll see around here. This is, well, it's an old dress, could be, but this is one of Zandra's very early print designs, his magic buttons in red, yellow and blue, quite fun colours. Zandra's very passionate about her work. Her work comes first all the time.
I never work with more than 3 colours. Three colours to me is all you need.
And a background. So this is the very famous, this is the punk, so 1977. And it's quite interesting because Zandra sort of drew slashes and then actually turned them into real slashes, so it's quite a fun. That's the right way around, isn't it, Zandra?
Which is that?
You drew these sort of punk.
Yeah, we had to work out how to make them look like that.
Yeah, and then you actually made the cuts in the dress.
Then we made the cuts in the dress.
Here's a bit of punk something, scarf I think. So this is sort of Zandra's most successful press collection, not in terms of sales, but in terms of press and her placing.
What is that?
The punk.
Oh, the punk one.
Where do your textiles come from? Where do they start?
Most of my ideas start because I work in my sketchbook and then start to work out what might make a nice design. Something that I like and I draw it. Probably I turn it into a sort of slightly patterny point of view. Desert.
Having sort of worked here for a while, I kind of noticed that they seem to be a bit like a cross and then a circle, or there's a sort of pattern embedded in.
Probably there's a general pattern,
Yeah.
but often when I'm designing it, I'll design on a piece of paper, then I'll cut a hole for my head, and I think
So
How
you,
does, rather like this. You see, this is this is like 2 half circles.
so
how
you
it looks.
sketch this out very roughly on a big piece of paper and then wrap it on
Try
the
the
body.
paper on in front of the mirror.
Brilliant.
See whether it worked. See how it looks. You know, different parts of it. What will they do?
And that's kind of what you have in all of these drawers here,
And
aren't
that's
they?
what I've got in
Various-
all of the drawers. The
various
various
phases.
designs.
Future. Look at that, you've got stars.
Coming out your ears.
Stars coming out your ears.
And you've got Ayers Rock, completely as I designed it, as a landscape.
That's wonderful.
So you can see that.
Because these are grass.
That's the grass, and that's another kind of grass. It's like a big pincushion. Now I think these. Oh,
I love this.
these are some of the early ones. Ah, this is the one I did for IKEA.
Right.
That's the screen for IKEA.
This is the one that was then developed. So this was the first idea.
And that was developed to make the screen
And then
that
this
they
is
had,
what-
yes.
Yeah, brilliant.
Funnily enough, a lot of the stuff I'm doing now, work that I've done for both IKEA and for Happy Socks, I've looked to work that I did 40 years ago and tried it out again and given it a new look. And so for me, I refer back to my work as well as trying out new things and seeing if the new things work, so that it's a game of push me, pull you. And it's one of these wonderful things that you can take a piece of plain fabric, you print on it, and suddenly you can turn it into whatever you like and make a magical garment or a cushion or a curtain and go into a whole fantasy world. When I want to design a new pattern, often it might come from going out with my sketchbook, or it might come from someone saying we want a theme that's got to be all leaves, or Zandra, we want to do your typical wiggle. So I really just start from my sketchbook and draw things, and then I try and draw it out roughly to scale, and I put it on in front of myself, in front of the mirror, to see how I think it will look. Because once you turn it into a textile, you don't want to waste money, so you always try it out on paper first. And I'd cut a hole for my head and try it out and see what I look like in the mirror and what do I think about it. Colour doesn't matter, because once you print it, colours can be changed. Zandra, I want flowers, but then my job is to come up and produce a Zandra flower, so that they're coming to me for something that they can't get from anyone else, but I will lead them on to whatever I think would be beautiful to wear. Being a designer of any kind, or a filmmaker, or someone where you're required to add part of yourself, is always difficult. So you've always got to be on your toes. Being a designer maybe is difficult. I don't know any other career. I wouldn't want to be anything else. The main thing is never to stop, always to keep going and talk about it if it's a problem.